Geometry. We're going to move ahead with our special quadrilaterals today. Yesterday, just reviewing quick, we had the properties of parallelograms. So opposite sides are parallel, opposite sides are congruent, opposite angles are congruent, consecutive angles are supplementary, and diagonals bisect each other. Now we're going to add to a rectangle, and as you can see right here, everything that's true for a parallelogram is also true for a rectangle. So all that stuff up top, plus a rectangle has 4 right angles and its diagonals are congruent. A rhombus is a parallelogram. So all the stuff up here is true for a rhombus as well. But what makes a rhombus special is it has 4 congruent sides. Its diagonals are perpendicular. And I got a little thing. Think Pythagorean theorem and trig. Right? That's what we do with right triangles. We have 90-degree angles. All right, that's what perpendicular means. So we're going to have 90-degree angles in the middle. So we have 4 right triangles. So we can use the idea of Pythagorean theorem or trig. And its diagonals bisect a pair of opposite angles. So this angle here gets split in half. This angle over here gets split in half. Likewise, from this diagonal here, these angles get split in half, and those angles get split in half. So we got a lot of equal right triangles as we go through. And then a square is just everything listed above. It is a parallelogram. It is a square. It is a rectangle. It is a rhombus, which makes it regular because it has 4 right angles. All angles are the same. All sides are the same. So as we go through, we could have a rectangle, but we use the idea of, sometimes opposite sides are congruent from a parallelogram to get us started. And then we got to keep in mind the 2 new ones. 4 right angles, diagonals are congruent. So we'll be going back to this, so it'd be nice to have this handy. So that's why I suggest you just upload the assignment straight into notes, so if you need to go back and forth and flip through. So we'll just go through a couple of these questions. They give us, it's a rectangle. They give us LM is 16. They give us MN is 12. And the measure of angle 1 is 60 degrees. Then we have to go through and find all these pieces, right? Well, what do we know first? Well, it's a rectangle, which is also a parallelogram, so I know opposite sides are congruent. So I can put ON as 16 and OL as 12. Okay? Move on to the next one. LN is a diagonal. Well, what do we have here is we have a right triangle, right? Because we said all angles are 90 degrees. So we have a right triangle, and we got 2 sides of a right triangle trying to find the hypotenuse. So we would do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And then this is the one where we got to take the square root. So we have 400 equals c squared. Take the square root of 400, and we get 20. So LN is 20. All right, then it says find LX. Well, since this is a parallelogram, and parallelograms diagonals bisect each other, if LN was 20, right, if the whole distance from here to here was 20, that means the distance from L to X is 10 and X to N is 10. So DLX is 10. OX, well, the diagonals are congruent, so OX is going to be the same as LX. LON, we already said, was 90 degrees. We used that. And then I'm going to erase this mess up here. All right, so we said angle 1 was 60. Well, then that means angle 2 has got to be 30 because we have a 90-degree angle. 60 plus 30 is 90. So angle 2 is 30. And here's the nice thing now. We have isosceles triangles because our diagonals are congruent. This piece is equal to this piece is equal to this piece is equal to this piece. So if we focus here, this triangle here is isosceles. And we've talked base angles in an isosceles triangle are congruent. So that's 30, and that's 60, going all the way around. Angle 3 is 30, 60. All right, let's move to a rhombus. They give us WX is 4 and WXY. So this whole angle is 60 degrees. Well, XY is 4 because it's a rhombus. All 4 sides are the same. So XY is 4. Then we got WO, which is this side here. We got a right triangle right here. How do I know that? Well, one of the properties of a rhombus say the diagonals are perpendicular. So I need a right triangle. And then to set up to find WO, all right, looking at a right triangle here, we got to find angle 3 and angle 4 or angle 2. Doesn't matter. But what we do know is WXY. All right, that angle there is 60. And one of the properties of a rhombus say the diagonals bisect opposite angles. So that angle gets cut in half if the whole thing is 60. That means angle 3 and angle 4 are each 30 degrees. Now we can find WO really quick using some trig. That's the hypotenuse. WO is this side, which is opposite. So we would use the sine of 30 degrees is equal to opposite over hypotenuse is 4. And then O is going to equal 4 times the sine of 30. Which is 2. So WO is 2. OX. All right, now we got to find out this length here, right? OX. Well, I would do the Pythagorean theorem. 4 squared. Here, I'll move the work. That was for OX. All this was for OX. Okay, and then now, oh no, this is all for WO. Sorry about that. Now for OX, we would do Pythagorean theorem. So we would do 4 squared is equal to 2 squared plus x squared, we'll say. So 16 minus 4 is 12 equals x squared. Take the square root of 12 and we would get approximately 3.46. So this is 3.46. All right, WY. Well, we know because it's a parallelogram, trying to find WY, we know this is 2. Diagonals bisect each other, so that's 2. So WY is 4. Measure of angle 1. Well, let's use this concept that we used up here for angle X. This angle here was split in half. That's 30. That was 30. Well, three angles of a triangle, angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3 add up to 180. So this has got to be 60 degrees. So they all add up to 180, which means angle 1 is also 60 degrees because angle W, the big angle, got cut in half because that's a property. Diagonals bisect each other. So angles 1 and 2 are 60 degrees, 60 degrees. And then the measure of ZWX would be 120 because that'd be angle 1 plus angle 2. And then the square. All right. EF is 10. So we got to find FG. Well, thank goodness it's a square. So all of those are the same. They're all 10, 10, 10, and 10. EG now is the diagonal. So we have the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 10 squared plus 10 squared equals C squared. 100 plus 100 is 200 equals C squared. And then the square root of 200 is 14.14. EI is half of the diagonal. Well, again, it's a parallelogram. And parallelogram diagonals bisect each other. So we would take that 14.4 we just found, cut it in half, and you get 7.07. All right, and then it says find IF. Well, we know EI, and we know IG. And we also know that a square is a rhombus. A square is a rectangle. Rectangles, diagonals are congruent. So again, all these pieces are the same exact measurement. So if I know one piece like EI is 7.07, I know all those little pieces from the corners to the center I are going to be the same exact measure. So IF would be 7.07. HF is the same as the big diagonal, which is 14.14. Right? Measure of angle 1. You don't give us anything about angles, so we know two things. We know that this angle is 90 degrees, right? These angles up top are all 90 degrees because it's a rhombus as well. Rhombus angles are perpendicular. We also know that we have four congruent isosceles triangles, right? So if this is 90 degrees up here, I know that these two angles are going to be the exact same. So I would take 180, subtract off the 90 degrees that we know, divide by 2, 45. You'd be like, wait, that's way too hard. How come you'd go in the long way? We know that it's a square and all the angles are 90 degrees. We also know a square is a rhombus, which means the diagonals bisect the angles, so that means these are all 45 degrees. The 90 degrees gets split in half. So all those angles are 45 degrees. So angle 1, 45 degrees. Angle 3, 45 degrees. EFG, 90 degrees. And EIF, 90 degrees. EIF, again, we used that already. EIF all the diagonals are perpendicular, so all those angles are 90 degrees. All right. So a couple changes as we're going through here. This is a rectangle. They don't have names on this, so we say this is a rectangle. That'll help you out. Okay. This would be a rhombus. In number 6, I want you to find the measure of angle U. And we'll call that a rhombus. And then on number 7, we're going to say find the value of x in the rectangle. And in this one, think, because it's not congruent, right? It's not a rhombus. So these two pieces aren't congruent, but we know those two pieces should add up to the whole degree measure, which is 90 degrees. So little hint for you.